Hello, I'm Lee Lindsay.
Nicole Lindsay.
Lisa Medina.
I'm Kenny Medina.
We are with Central Mississippi Paranormal Society, and we're here at Stafford Springs, Mississippi, where we will be doing a live investigation, and you're invited.
And now we'd like to introduce you to the homeowner, Clarice Soper.
Miss Clarice, could you give us a little brief history of this place?
Yes, this home was built in, so we've been told it was beginning to be built in 1858 and then completed it in 1862. In the late 1890s, they put two wings on, one that faces the north and one that faces the west. But 3 years ago when we bought the house is when we first started noticing occurrences that are happening in the house, footsteps, doors opening and closing. My grandson heard and saw a little girl. She played with his toys. She stroked his hair. Our dog gets very upset and growls at nothing. And that's why we decided to bring in a paranormal investigation team.
Is there anybody in here right now? I just heard myself.
I did too.
Did Nicole say something?
I think that was his echo coming out.
Probably me back there in the.
That wasn't your echo.
Sound like a little
You
boy.
hear it on that thing?
It sounded like a girl.
It sure did.
Right after we purchased the home, the first weekend, my daughter and my grandchildren were leaving when my grandson became very upset that my granddaughter was getting to stay, when in actuality she was in the front of the vehicle. My daughter called me from the driveway and said that Hunter could see a little girl in the upstairs window. I went running up the stairs and there was no one there. After that point, he continued to talk about a little girl that was upstairs who would pull his hair and play with his toys, and he refuses to go up the stairs and play by himself. We've had other occurrences where my daughter and my husband were carrying mattresses down the stairs when the doors upstairs started opening and closing and the lights turned off and on by themselves. My daughter left my husband on the staircase holding the mattress. We've had other occurrences to where we could hear people talk but couldn't see anybody. My granddaughter saw a shadow of a tall person, she believes it was a man, in the dining room that walked out of the flowers and into the central hallway. Our dog continues barks at nothing, and we've heard from neighbors and people in the community that there was actually a picture taken in the basement of this house several years before we bought it of a Confederate soldier with the dog in the basement. We have been restoring the house since we have been here, and slowly but surely we've been going through the different rooms. And as we restore, the activity seems to pick up. We have a windmill made out of tin. It's a piece of metal art that sits in the center hallway. It doesn't have a back on it, but we like it anyway because it belonged to my father-in-law, who's deceased. While my husband and I were putting the finishing touches on the center hallway, it started playing all by itself, with no back on it. There's no way to wind it. There's no way to turn it off. There's no way to turn it on. At that point, I think is when I realized that my husband believes that there's someone else here besides us. My daughter and both of my grandchildren have had experiences here as well, upstairs, downstairs, and outside.
All right, so this is the spot where I don't know exactly who it was. I think it was her grandchildren or somebody that seen an Indian, a bloody Indian over here by the creek, just standing there one day.
About 3 o'clock one night, it was about 2 years ago, my son woke me up, literally jumping on my chest, face to face, screaming that a little girl was pulling his hair. And that Nana lied to him because she said that there was no more ghosts in the house. They were all gone. And I could not get him calmed down that night. We had to come downstairs, we had to wake Nana and Papa up, we had to get the whole house up, and we had to move shortly thereafter because he would not sleep, he would not eat, he wouldn't go in any room by himself. We had to walk him into the room. He doesn't play by himself in this house. So we moved out about a week later.
You want to play patty cake? I'll hold my hands out for you. You just gotta lay yours on top of mine. Oh my god, my arms just got like really heavy. Like they're not cold, they're just heavy.
We had that Silver Family home plate with the picture of Jesus in it and 14 karat gold around the edges. That was my husband's great grandmother's. We had it sitting in the secretary behind the glass on a plate rack. I come in one day coming through the house and this door was open and this plate was busted, but sitting just the way it is pretty much now, all in pieces as if it had fallen onto the ground and someone had picked it up. We just don't know who. Got this mirror from my in-laws on Long Island after my father-in-law passed away. And my husband hung it up, and it's hung up by it with a lag bolt. It was hanging up here for about 2 to 3 weeks when my husband and I were in the family room and we heard a crash. And after looking throughout the whole house once, we actually couldn't find anything, went back through and we turned on every single light in the house. And in front of this, standing about this tall, I had a jewelry box and it was off the dresser and smashed here on the floor in pieces, but yet these antique bud vases with these artificial roses were still standing. The mirror was off the wall and laying on the carpet, mirror side up, undamaged, unbroken, but it did have one of my post earrings embedded in the wood. We cannot explain this.